Hello everybody, this is 5 fitness mistakes in fitness. Stay tuned. Hello everybody, this is episode 29 of the podcast. My name is NoBSNutirition on YouTube, or call me Drake. I want to be a personal trainer and / nutrition coach in the future, so I'm working on that. So in this type of podcast, I'm going to talk about 5 mistakes in fitness, or 5 fitness mistakes so far. So we're going to just, jump right into it. So number 1, training for longevity or performance. Chasing health will get the aesthetics. Chasing aesthetics will not get the health. MindPump Adam. So if you guys want to watch MindPump talk about different type of podcasts, fitness, coaching, trainers, etc., weight loss, fat loss, whatever. And one of the guys are named Adam, Sal, and Justin and Doug. And Adam always describe what that quote means, and we're going to get into it. So longevity or performance. A lot of people in the fitness world train for performance, or not performance necessarily, but aesthetics. Aesthetics you can really put a toll on. Someone can look healthy with their six-pack abs, but they have an eating disorder, or they overtrain 24/7, or they have a lot of bearing on food and control and trying to be a control freak. So what I would suggest for people who does this type of thing, like performance or longevity, is have both. You want the longevity to have health. You want to live longer. When I went to this fitness world, and when I was 250 right here, I was trying to get longevity at first. I was trying to get strong too, but I wasn't really aware of that. I was trying to get, longevity. But later on, I wanted to switch to performance and really focus on my goals. Was that period of time I was very unhealthy? Yes. But was the period of time I was very strong? Yes. So, in a sense, you want to try to have both right in the middle, purple I like to call it. So red and blue makes purple. Try to have purple so you have both. You don't want to focus on typically one if you're willing to overtrain and overdo it, like tracking calories to the gram, being like a bodybuilder 24/7 if you're not a bodybuilder, something like that. Would it be nice to focus on a specific period of time, like let's say performance, like I just want nothing but aesthetics? Yes, but you have to keep in mind you still don't want to just do longevity and eat like total dog shit and eat donuts because you're bulking. So you want this mix, even if you're going to focus on one. So if someone wants to focus on, performance, and they used to do a lot of longevity, never lift heavy weights, never really dial their nutrition with eating more protein, then yeah, we could focus on performance, but we're not going to totally draw out the longevity. Same thing with performance and same thing with longevity. We're not trying to draw it all out, but we might focus on one. While I would love people to have both, yes, if you chase health, you will get the stakes. If you do not chase health, if you chase aesthetics, you will not get the health. So what that means is if you focus on one, typically aesthetics, you will not get the health. And you want to focus on longevity to get the performance later on. And we can always just do both. It's period time, we can do one then the other, but we're not trying to draw out the other because they're like black and white. They go well together. So keep that in mind when you do this type of programming. So if you want to do powerlifting for a set period of time, you can do that. That's perfectly fine. Don't eat like shit trying to power bulk 30% body fat because you want to hit an EPR. Try to have some longevity aspect. Try not to get so sore and not trying to get so try not to prevent, try not to get injured in the process. So I just want to say that. For number 2 is not lifting weights properly. So not lifting weights can be multiple things, like doing cardio instead of really lifting weights, doing HIIT cardio. Now you do having good form or other things like that factor. So I wasn't really specific, but what I mean by not lifting weights properly for typically most people, or people who are like fitness fanatic, is people who do a lot of cardio because they like it. Cardio junkies, I like to say. I was a cardio junkie. I was 144 doing a lot of cardio, but to the point that we're trying to build a lot of muscle mass. Cardio ain't bad. Cardio is good for the health and heart, but it's a certain point that people would do 20 to even 30,000 steps a day because they love cardio so much, or overdo it because of the dopamine response, their endorphins. But we're not trying to have cardio because cardio requires a lot of time, and not everyone has about 5 hours to do cardio on the treadmill. So how will we prevent this? How we can eat these tasty treats and lose body fat easier and not have this mental strain or give up in the process, is to do more weight training. How we focus on weight training, resistance training, strength training. People who have good mobility, people who are typically younger or even like 40 years old can do this, so people in the order maybe not have the best form can learn how to do this. It is strength training. Starting strength have good programs, how to do barbell, squat, deadlifting, and bench press. But what I would suggest for most people is resistance training in general. So do with dumbbells, do with weights, but what's going to give you the best form of your buck is compound lifts. So the 4 compound lifts: squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, or even 3 of them, it will give you the most strength out of your buck when you're starting off, because of new begins and also a new stimulus. And during that time, if you get stronger, body recomposition, losing body fat of the process, then bam, you could maybe focus on a little cardio if you want to. If you want to focus on a little bit endurance phase, then we can do that. But right now, we're trying to get as strong as humanly possible and do weightlifting correctly first, so we don't have to overcorrect or go over some mental barriers, because you like cardio way too much and is actually hurting your body than actually giving your body the needs and wants that it really will benefit than strength training. So I'm not saying strength training is not gonna you're not going to overtrain on. You can easily overtrain on strength training as well as cardio, but typically people will focus on cardio more than strength training and not do it as proper with strength training. So do weights properly with good form and technique, or even just close 90% good form and technique. Don't kill yourself over that, and trying to focus on getting stronger at first. But later on, if you want to focus on endurance or run a marathon, we could perfectly do that if a client or a coach will consider that. But right now, for the next probably a year or maybe a few month in your fitness journey, I'll say do weightlifting correctly before you focus on cardio, because it's multiple things that can go wrong with that. And the best example is, the best you can think of is like hit cardio with weights. It's not properly, so just consider that. Number 3, doing way too much. This goes with number 2, like overtraining, but doing way too much. Yeah, it can be running, but typically just overtraining in general. This is a lot of fitness fanatics, so you don't really typically, people who are not a fitness fanatic probably not overtrain. But for me and for other people like my friend, will definitely overtrain in the weightlifting. And overtraining, yes, you put in the work, but I like to say you can do a lot at your job and might get promotion, but even then it's not the same thing as a weightlifting room. If your sleeping, nutrition, and your stress is way off, and you overtraining in the weightlifting room, and even if your sleeping, nutrition, and stress is perfectly fine or even excellent, and you still overtrain or do a lot thinking you get more than you're returned, then you're mistakenly wrong. You will succeed overtraining, and you will have an injury, fatigue, or even degress going backwards. So how I would prevent this is, look at your training log, look at your sleep, look at your nutrition, look at your stress. Those 3 components: sleep, nutrition, stress, and of course your training, that's the 4th, but your sleep and nutrition is pretty much important. Why you're doing too much, that could be a mental thing. You're running for something, you're scared, you're trying to get stronger, so you're just unaware. So we're not trying to go too deep on that, but really don't try to overtrain thinking you're going to get more than you should get more. I know all the caffeine and stimulus those teenagers like me probably would take, so we don't feel as much. But if you order, typically, just in your 20s in general, I'm not talking about 16 or 40s and nothing like that, but if you order, then typically you have a higher chance of overtraining because of ego, or just you think you're just trying to get stronger. And that's good and all, but you're not trying to do as much, because you will actually do little amount to at least the most amount of change. And even though you probably think, oh my god, only 1 set of something, yeah, that will probably make you more stronger than 2 sets. So you just have to keep that in mind. Number 4, burning extra calories for the wrong reasons. This really is typically with the cardio junkies or people who are trying to lose body fat. Burning extra calories for the wrong reason, meaning 2 different things. Burning calories because you went over your calorie deficit, so you're like, oh, I can just burn calories and eat more. Yes. No, you can't really do that, because, well, those machines are wrong. Those machines tell you burn more calories because of marketing, because gyms can buy more of those machines, and people thinking they can eat more because the machine says I burn 500 calories, which is not true. It's only a 20 to 30% or even 50% increase of inaccuracy of those calorie measures. So you really consider, why am I doing this? Why am I doing? Do I have a dysfunction with fitness in general? I used to do this thinking it's okay, but it was really a dysfunction. It wasn't good mentally, because every time I had to do 3 hours of cardio because I had to eat this, eat that, burning burning muscle. And then over time, it took me 5 hours to do the same amount of food. I could just build more muscle and waste so much time in the gym. So you have to consider an amount why you're burning so much extra calories. I won't suggest burning extra calories. I won't even suggest for a client to burn extra calories only if they're inactive in general. But if you're an active person, don't burn extra calories. Just try to focus on building muscle. If you're going to do 15,000 steps a day and you're not considering other factors like you're a nurse, so you going like walking 24/7, or moving your arms or talking or taking people to places, is not the best example. It's not the best way to do so for the long term. So you have to consider for that. Not making exercise as a skill. So exercise should be a skill and form and technique. This goes with number 2. You don't want to just do HIIT cardio, lifting weights, and making you get strong and with bad form. You really want to focus on building up your skills. So if you suck at the squat, build up the squat. Tom Platt say, I like to do extra hard exercises, harder stuff, because I know that will grow the most muscle. I paraphrase that, but you will grow some more muscle typically if something's harder. So you have to consider that maybe the compound lift, the squat, or the deadlift is hard because I just don't know the skill to it. And if I develop that skill, I would grow the most amount of muscle during that phase. So you really have to make sure that you develop a skill. Exercise, training with weights is a skill because you have to focus on form, you have to focus on technique, you have to focus on tempo. If you decondition, like someone who's disconditioned and just don't know his body too well, who doesn't know how to squat properly or know how to pick up something off the ground without rounding their back perhaps or hurting their back because you have to pick something off the ground, then that could be a sign that they don't have good form, and that can be a skill. So you really need to focus on skill making and focus on lifting weights properly. Well, I would suggest look at MindPump, look at different ways to lift weights, look at stuff on YouTube, because that's going to be the best platform to learn from, in my opinion. TikTok, Instagram is not the best platform because people are trying to just get clout, but at least YouTube have some tutorials that you could look at possibly, like MindPump, to learn. So that's really it for today's video. I'm not going to go over the summary, but I'm going to say just focus on longevity and performance. If you want to phase on performance, then go right ahead, like a 3-month phase, but don't just go out completely longevity. And athletes have this hard aspect of not focusing on both. So trying to focus on, if you want to focus on one, focus on like at least a half or a quarter of longevity or something, than just throwing it out. And focus on sleep, nutrition, and on training, and also stress. Those 4 key components, and you should be all good if you figure those out. And also, help you mentally too. So if you're trying to burn extra calories for the wrong reasons, see why you're trying to burn extra calories. Try not to get in that mental barrier of hurting yourself or overtraining because you think this is the right way. So this is NoBSNutirition, episode 29 of the podcast. Today, I want to say subscribe, share this with a friend if this was interesting, or go to my free Facebook group in the description below. That's really it to this video. Thank you. Goodbye.